Hey guys, my name's John and I'm from Liberty Escrow. So you signed the contract, the transaction is progressing, and your real estate professional says it's time to open escrow. What does that mean to you? What is escrow? Well, over the next few minutes we will answer those questions and many more. Escrow is a deposit of funds, a deed, or other instrument to a neutral third party called an escrow officer for delivery to another party upon completion of the transaction or event. In a home purchase, when you take out a mortgage or buy a home, you will open an escrow account. Escrow is the assurance that no funds or property will change hands until all the instructions for the transaction has been followed and completed. The escrow agent is obligated to protect all funds and documents while in his or her possession and expend only once all conditions of the escrow has been achieved. The buyer, seller, lender, borrower, and principals will create escrow instructions, most often in writing, to be signed and delivered to the escrow officer. Normally, if a broker is involved, he or she will provide the escrow officer all necessary information for the creation of your escrow instructions and documents. The escrow officer performs many duties which may include but are not limited to adhering to the instructions set forth by the principals and all parties to the transaction, processing the escrow in a quick and efficient manner, when all terms have been compiled with, closing the escrow, paying all authorized bills, fees, and charges, disbursing funds in accordance with the instructions, and providing the closing or settlement statement. An escrow holder is normally chosen by an agreement between the buyer and the seller. If a real estate broker is involved in the transaction, they may recommend an escrow holder. The principals in the transaction have every right to use an escrow holder that they feel best suits their type of transaction. Laws prohibit the payment of fees for referrals. Read and understand your escrow instructions. Any questions regarding your instructions should be directed towards your escrow officer. Always remember, your escrow officer is not an attorney. They do not practice law and cannot offer legal advice nor relate personal opinions about your transaction. Your escrow officer follows the instructions set forth by the principals to the escrow. Always respond to correspondence quickly to assure the timely closing of the transaction. Deliver funds into the escrow in the form required by the escrow officer. Procedures differ depending on the company. Be sure to check with your escrow officer for specific instructions on handling such funds. Personal checks used for delivery of funds may severely slow the closing process, possibly a week or even more. If a new loan is being obtained, your escrow officer will contact your lender. Escrow will provide your lender with the escrow instructions, the preliminary report, and any additional document as requested. When processing any closing, the escrow holder is required to comply with the lender's instructions. Some lenders now forward their loan documents to the escrow holder for signing. These documents are lender documents and cannot be interpreted or explained by the escrow officer. You may request a representative from the lender's office to be present to answer any questions you may have regarding the documents or make arrangements with the lender to sign the documents in their office. A closing statement is a written record compiled at the close of escrow that itemizes the charges and credits of your account. Items shown in this statement will include the purchase price, funds deposited or credited to your account, payoffs on existing encumbrances and/or liens, cost of all services and funds you are entitled to at the close of escrow. When you receive your closing papers, carefully examine the closing statement. It is straightforward and reflects all financial aspects of your transaction. Any questions or concerns should be directed to your escrow officer. Thoroughly examine all of the closing papers since they may contain the refund check. Quickly cash or deposit the check, making sure it is endorsed by all payees. Safely store your closing statement and all other escrow papers for income tax purposes. The closing statement will assist your accountant with needed information about the sale or purchase of the property. The IRS and other agencies may require you to prove your costs and/or profit on the sale of any property.